Hey, this is Sari Torres, and you are stuck in the existential crisis corner. So today we're going to look at similes and how they can be used. Now, if you remember your English classes as well as I do,
and then a thin layer of fog comes in around my ankles. Roadies, that means dry ice. We're going to talk about this later.
a simile is a comparison using like or as. Life is like a box of chocolates. This is unlike a metaphor, which would be life is a box of chocolates. Not that I would complain about that. Life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get. Forrest Gump, am I right?
He's Gump, what's in his head?
He was everywhere in the 90s. So why was this such a great line? We're going to explore 5 different reasons why this is a good example of a simile. First off, we have originality. His eyes were as blue as the ocean. You just cringed when I said that, didn't you? That's because it's been said like a million times. If you want to make a great simile, it's gotta be original. Cliche just won't cut it. I once read that when you're trying to look for a good simile, you don't use the first thing that comes in your head. You don't use the first, use the second. It's kind of like that gag that cartoons do when like someone's trying to think of a fake name and they just use like the first things that they see and it really sucks.
My name? P, T, Griffin. Yeah, Peter Griffin. Oh, crap.
Now, we do this, of course, to avoid being cliche. Now, the weird thing about cliche is like the first person that does it, it's fantastic. The first person to say, your eyes are as blue as the ocean, you know that person got laid.
Yeah, baby.
But you don't want to be the one who repeats. You want to be the one who gets repeated. If I put life is like a box of chocolates in my book, not only am I going to be faced with a huge copyright problem,
I object.
but it's going to be cliche. It's not going to be original. Everyone's going to be rolling their eyes at it. But if I was the first person to write that, I mean, I wouldn't be making this YouTube video right now. I'd be rolling around in my Oscars. Or money. Now that takes us to numero dos, which is going to be purpose. Just like anything in your story, a simile should be there because it has to be there. It's got to add something to your story, and it's got to lead somewhere where you could not have gone without the use of simile, or at the very least, it wouldn't have been as fun. Sometimes you might read or hear a simile that sounds like a winding road that just goes nowhere.
Well, you see, marriage is a lot like an orange. First, you have the skin, then the sweet, sweet innards.
On the other hand, you might have a simile that's a little too straightforward. If you ever look up those BuzzFeed articles with like worst essays written by middle or high school students, you always see something that's like, the table was a flat piece of wood with 4 straight, smaller pieces of wood holding it up. Now, if I wanted a definition, I would have gone to the dictionary. Now, if you feel like your simile isn't working, maybe it's not supposed to be there in the first place. Maybe try describing this thing using concrete terms. Or maybe you're trying to describe the wrong part of the scene or person or whatever it is that you're describing. Maybe what you're describing just really isn't that important to the story. Don't just add a simile because you want to be fancy or act like all the cool kids. Peer pressure never helped anyone. You do it because that part of the book needs it. Number 3, third most important part of simile is going to be the comprehensibility. So, in other words, it's got to make sense to the person that's reading it.
Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
If you make a comparison that's too far-fetched, goes over your readers' heads, or isn't properly explained, some wrong assumptions can be made.
Ogres are like onions.
They stink?
Yes. No.
Oh, they make you cry?
No.
Oh, you leave them out in the sun, they get all brown, start sprouting little white hairs.
No. Layers. Onions have layers. Ogres have layers. Onions have layers. You get it. We both have layers.
The simile ogres are like onions kind of sucks, especially since the donkey just goes right over his head. But if we think of ogres are like onions because they have layers, that's not bad. Now, in a case like this, if you say ogres are like onions because they have layers, that's a full simile, and you put that explanation in because it needs it, and it makes it complete. And there's nothing wrong with that. If we take the example, life is like a box of chocolates, you never know what you're going to get. If I was just to say, life is like a box of chocolates, you're going to say, why? You get it on your birthday, maybe like it tastes good. Does life taste good? No. It's like a box of chocolates because you never know what you're going to get. That makes the simile. Don't feel like adding an explanation is going to take away from your simile. It might complete it.
You complete me.
Now, on the other hand, if you feel like you're really stretching yourself to make the simile work and you're explaining it and explaining it, you've got like paragraphs and paragraphs, and it's going nowhere, then you might be making the wrong comparison here. If I was trying to describe how my couch is like a snowman, I don't really know if I could get anywhere with that. Okay, now our fourth and final component of a simile is that it's got to add a sense to what you're doing. Now, the whole reason, like, cavemen or whoever the hell invented simile was so that we could describe things that would be difficult to describe without a comparison. Take taste, for example. Taste is probably one of the hardest things to describe. Like, if you met someone that didn't have taste buds, you couldn't describe any taste to them at all because you just got to compare it with something.
Tastes like chicken.
This means that simile is a great tool to use when you've got something difficult to describe, because using comparison, your reader might not have any other way to understand that thing without having a way to relate it to something they've experienced. If we go back to our first example, life is like a box of chocolates. Life's a freaking difficult thing to describe. It's huge. We all experience it in different ways. And in a way, saying life is like a box of chocolates explains how unique and different life is. And I don't know, there might not have been a better way to describe that. And I guess that's what makes it such a fantastic simile. Okay, guys, so you've sat through 4 aspects of a great simile. We've got originality, purpose, comprehensibility, and the adding of a sense. So next time you make your next simile, make it like a box of chocolates. Or make your next simile like life is shit. Make your next simile like life is like a box of chocolates. Yeah. If you liked this video, then you should check out the rest of my channel. This was my first video, so thank you for bearing with me. I hope you enjoyed it. I want to make about a post once a week, so keep coming back. This is Sari Torres signing off from the Existential Crisis Corner. Stay weird.